Okay, so I'm going to do a review of a double-digit Q game, and let's get started. So far, everything is good. We're not going to talk too much about like opening and Joseki, because I feel at double-digit Q level that doesn't matter too much. So far, everything is good. Yep, he's making a base. That's good. And he's defending his group. I think when you're double-digit Q, that's the main thing, is just learning how to efficiently defend your stones. And I feel like white is doing that. Okay, so black tries to fight, and white tries to run away. That's good. So here's probably the first mistake. So this is the main group. This one gets cut off. So you want to protect the bigger group. So normally just probably sacrifice these, defend your cutting point, and black is not getting too much over here. And you can see black needs to make a base here, and you can see white is now out, doesn't really need to do too much. Maybe even if they wanted to extend a few times and make it a little bit stronger, and then you can Tanuki, play another big area. But when you run out this one, you get two weak groups, and you can't really defend both of them most of the time. So it's not a good idea to do that. Okay. So here it looks like you try to sacrifice these, which I think that's a good idea. So you made it where you only had the one weak group. But then maybe a little too much with the attach. If you just connect here, this group here is very weak, and you can attack that. If he blocks here, that's fine. Like he gets his corner, and you get to cut off and attack this. This group, you can always try to play something over here later to try and save it. But when you do this one, there's this cutting point here. And if you get cut off, then again, that's two weak groups, and it's hard to defend both. This was a bit of a overextension. When black is really strong here, it's very difficult to do two spaces because this move kind of just cuts it off. When they go here, you can't really do anything. It just works. So here, one space, and then you could play, yeah, something like this to try and live here. This group is still weak, but now you have this group that got cut off. But when you do this one, it becomes very difficult. He went that side. Okay. So black messed up here. I'm not sure why he played this one. If he just captures this, I suppose you can do this to kind of save the top. But this group is probably dead. And this is also very weak. I guess there is a lack of eye shape, but it doesn't seem in too much trouble. Like, let's say, like this one. So if you were to go like this, black can capture, he connects, but this is dead and this is dead. The main point is if white just defends here, black can cut and also can end up saving these. So it goes the same where he goes here, you don't defend here because this would be a Salvatore. You just go capture, he captures, you capture back, and then everything's kind of in trouble. This still needs a move here to live. I think this lives, but it's a very messy game. But when he does this, it's very good for you. This is cut off. This one, and there's a connection here, so white or black probably has to play another move here to stop you from connecting under. And then playing this is also very big because then you cut off these stones. We'll see what he did. Okay, so he does block this one. and you try to save. Okay. So you already sacrificed these stones, so they're not that important to save. These ones are the ones you tried to save. So these are the stones that you can't let die. And the best way to save them is to make sure these stay weak. So when you connect here, you're cutting these off, and you're also making a weak group. So now when he's running out and fighting, he can't be as aggressive because he has to worry about his own group. But when you come back over here and save it, this is still not alive. You still have to add a move here. Um, but now this group gets into trouble. This group is no longer weak. So it's a lot of trading, but it's not calculated trading. It's kind of random, but you don't really want random trading. So like this all could be good for you because you saved this one, you got the corner, this group is okay. This is your only weak group now, and he has a weak group. So it kind of turns out okay, but it's a random result, I would say. Okay. Oof. So again, this group is weak. You want to keep this group weak, and when he cuts here, he becomes very strong. So you don't want to allow your opponent to get stronger. So this move, while it may look small, it's keeping this group very weak. This move, I'm not really sure why this move. I'm assuming you were just trying to make points here. But if he just captures here, he's very alive. And now you have to defend this group. If you don't, you just try to keep making points. He can now just attack here. And because of this stone here and this being cut off now, later on, there's a chance like he can play a move here, and this group can become weak. And having two weak groups is just not a good idea. Okay, and he eventually does cut that off. And then you come over here trying to attack. Again, it doesn't feel good because you have these two weaknesses over here. And so yeah, you took some points here, but you gave him stones in the center, which is helping surround this group, and also gave him stones here, which is helping attack this one. So I feel like in this part of the game, black is doing a little bit better. Okay, and yeah, all he has to do is keep it splits. You come back and you defend and live. That's very good. You recognize that there is some oddity here, and you came back and defended. But the issue is it's a little bit too late because you defended this one, but now you still have this one, which is in a lot of trouble. And you have to defend here because you added these stones here. So if you try to run out this way, now it's these stones getting into trouble. Yeah, it's kind of unnecessary. So I guess maybe you play this one to try and kill this, and maybe not defend, which would be the wrong idea. But here, you should probably just keep extending to make points here, and just hope that if he captures these, whatever you can make on this side, no matter where you want to play, is bigger than this. But trying to attack this doesn't seem like it will work. Yeah, he just connects, and you run out here, but he can still like double Hane here and play here, and it's not 100% alive, and your corner can get into trouble. And then yeah, you still have this weak group, which you allowed it to get cut off. So here, here the best move is probably to play this one. But if he just pushes through like this, you have to defend. And yeah, it's not pretty. Like, it doesn't look like he can really surround you right away, but maybe he can try something like this, which is threatening to do something to this group. And if you don't defend, maybe something like this works. It probably won't die, but you have some weaknesses you can aim at, which make this corner weaker. And if you came back and defended this, then he could surround pretty easily. But here the peep was just obvious, and at this point you kind of just have to sacrifice these and try to make something on this side. Which if you can, you're probably winning because this is all the points that black has, and you have a bunch of territory and potential. So white, I think, is definitely winning, even if all this dies, probably. But it definitely could have been better. So this move is good if you're just going to sacrifice these. If he tries to attack and you try saving him, it's not good. Hmm. Yeah, trying a little too hard there. So I kind of like the idea of this Hane, but if he plays here, I think the idea is to play something like this and extend. Um, he might play something like, oops, not this one. If he tries to capture, you can Atari extend, and this side is very big. And if he extends, you go here, which is threatening to capture these stones, so he has to capture. And you can even do something like this, forcing him to capture this, but it's much smaller. You have like a wall here and Sente. So now if you just play something over here to where he can't invade, this area is just way too big. But here it looks like you tried to save everything. Um, hmm. And then, yeah, it kind of works out the same. Yeah, so now you can see he got some stones here. The corner is not safe. Like if he plays here and captures, the corner is pretty much his. He's building potential here now. This group is not 100% alive. And like even if you add a few stones here, it looks difficult to live. So yeah, yeah, DDK games are not my strength when reviewing games, but I would say the main focuses for you would be groups and not trying to save everything. So you want to keep things strong and connected, not creating too many weak groups, and knowing when something is small versus big and when you should save it and not save it, which those all kind of go together. Hmm. So it looks like you managed to save, but you live here, which is only in a few points, and he got this entire side over here and Sente. So like if he just plays here, this is just massive. Um, if he jumps over here, this is also really big because now he can aim at cutting these off and also build points over here. But instead he plays this one. So I guess he's trying to save these. Does he need to though? Because even if you could save these and kill this side is just way bigger. Um, Let me see. So yeah, if he plays over here, and he just does something like this and tries to surround, it looks like black would kill it first. So yeah, this should be okay. But like I said, even if it dies and this ends up living and you get all this, like let's say you just do something like this. Um, this is not as big as this entire side. And like say he blocks here and then you get to play here. Like this is just, I would say probably double the size of this, or at least close to it, I would think. Haven't counted, but that would be my guess. And when you play, or when black plays here, later he could still maybe try and cut here. It doesn't really work right now, but it's still something where black still probably has to end up capturing these. And you come back and defend. That's pretty good. You defend your weak group, and that's always good. And he comes back and captures. Okay. If you're gonna play this move, you kind of have to just cut. But here, you kind of just die, which I think you noticed this after you played this, so you tanuki. But before you cut, you should definitely make sure that you're connected. Because if not, it's better just to go ahead and play somewhere over here directly. Okay, so he invades. You play here. Probably not the worst move. But again, here you have too many things you're trying to save. You're trying to take the corner, you're trying to kill, trying to save these stones, you're trying to save these stones. So it'd probably be best just to play something like this. Make sure you're nice and connected. If he runs here, you just take the corner. Now it's easier to save these stones because you have stuff you can run to. He still has weaknesses over here. So even if you try to get rid of these, you could always like play something like this and try to reduce this area even more. But here you have too much you're trying to do at once. So you end up killing this, and looks like you get away with it. So, yeah, I think if he just connects here, this is much better. But still lots of Aji there. And it looks like it just ends here. So yeah, for like a summary, I would say the biggest mistakes were too many weak groups. So like here, he does try to cut you, but you can just sacrifice it and defend the important group. And again, same here. Just keep your groups connected. And then this is also making it easier to attack. And this is kind of the same because you can get cut off here. It's the same as creating another group. So you want to make sure your stones are connected. Okay. Here you did a good job saving those. This is kind of different, but it's also keeping groups weak. And here, creating another group when you already have a sort of weak group here and a weak group here. So instead of creating a new group, you should be defending your weaker group, or even jumping out like this, trying to connect them. Something that's not creating a new group. Because you can see here that you kind of you got into trouble because you had too many things you're trying to do. And then same thing here, trying to do too much, trying to save everything, and you end up just getting cut off. And same thing here, you pretty much are creating another group. So it's 1, 2, 3 groups you have to worry about. But it's very easy just to defend the more important group, which is the one that's going to give you the most potential for profit. And then, yeah, you just spend all this time trying to save your groups and you don't really make too many points. But your opponent wasn't doing much better, so it worked out for you. And then again here, keeping your groups connected and making it where you only have like the one group versus 2 or 3 is very good to learn how to master that. Same with here, you have 1, 2, 3 groups. Just make sure you connect into one group as quickly as possible. And then you don't have to worry about like this where you're cut everywhere. You have again 1, 2, 3 groups, and you're trying to save all of them. Which again, it worked out in the end, but a stronger opponent would have punished a little bit more. But yeah, like I said, I'm not very good at reviewing double-digit Q games. But let me know if you like this, and I can make more. And I'll see you next time.